Chapter 2 A Glimpse of Life. Dr. Winter warms his hands with a cup of coffee. He analyzes a small artifact with his eyes. It lies on a table under a harsh white light. Its metal components are sheathed in plastic. A switch on the side protrudes and retracts the metal plug, where inside, the copper lining streaks downward into a small PCB. Many items bearing its likeness lay in a pile before the scientists. Some are wires, while others stand alone with different ways of hiding their metal components. Looking at the group, Julius wonders out loud, is all of it metal conduction? Yes, Elizabeth begins. They should work with the old computers. Julius gives a disappointed flinch in the corner of his mouth. We'll have to ask Ron in the morning. Morris won't mind, she says. Doesn't he lock that room? Morris doesn't lock anything. He told me to walk in whenever. You know where it is? She nods. It's in the back of the history wing. Julius raises his brows. Let's do it then. He turns his focus to the pile of wires and notices something unique among the clutter. He picks up a wire to be sure he's seeing correctly. Liz, this is a language. She steps over in a hurry. What is? Julius points to the small symbol embedded on the end of the wire. Are you sure? She asks. I think so. Looking for proof among the relics, he picks up another wire bearing the same symbol. It is also a cord, which he follows to the other end. A similar but different symbol. He begins to wince as he thinks. Elizabeth examines several of the cords to find more of the same lettering. She begins to smile at him and points to the markings. If I were to take a guess, this cable runs in one direction, making one end in and the other out. She clenches the wire in a fist and shakes her hand with excitement. Her mouth opens from a smile to let out a whispered yell. Yes! She whispers in a high tone. He gently touches her hand to ask her for the wire. Give me that, you're going to break it. I'm sorry. She hands him the wire. I just got excited. Julius places the wire down gently and looks up from under his brow. Dr. Manning can suck a fat one, she adds. Julius laughs. Liz. What? It's true. He's a piece of shit. Julius gives off a contagious calm with his lax demeanor. He's just arrogant. What he does and says has no effect on us. He does when the captain's on his side. You think the captain takes sides? Elizabeth shoots him a side glance. I know the captain sides with him. Why's that? Well, I feel like he worries about us, since I'm so young and all. The captain has faith in you. With another sip of coffee, he continues. He's just cautious, and Manning makes him worry. Her energy fades, I guess. You've got Morris taking your side. You've got me, and the sisters. Yeah, but they're women, so it's different. Julius takes a breath, as if about to speak, but he falls short of a word. It's because I'm young, and a woman. She sips her coffee. That makes them worry. Julius searches around for something, then picks up an artifact. Let's prove him wrong tomorrow. Her mind lightly veers from disappointment, and she nods. She then looks closer at the script on the wire. These letters are beautiful. He smiles and picks up another flash drive. So, are we plugging one in yet? Or what? Oh, yeah. Can we? She doesn't wait for an answer, but begins walking. She reaches back for him, as if offering to take his hand. Come on, let's go. In a room down the hall, they reach a table of old technologies. One of these relics is a laptop, which was brought from Earth 500 years ago. Dr. Winter stands in front of the machine for the first time, and yet with vague familiarity. It was refurbished and stored away in a dry and safe environment. His gentle fingers lift the screen from its physical keyboard. Fingering along the computer's edge, he finds what appears to be an appropriate port. I think this one should work, he says. He signals her for one of the sheathed relics. She hands him the small object, and he tries to plug it in. It doesn't quite fit, so he searches for another option. On the opposite side, he sees a similar outlet. This time, the metal component slides in. Perfect. Now we push the power button, and I think we'll be all set. The screen takes a long time, until it displays an icon underlined by a loading bar. Dr. Lawrence leans in for a closer look. Is this what it does? No, it's just starting up. These things work a little different. You'll need patience. She reads out loud from the screen. Dell. In sarcasm, he sighs. Even the Earthlings couldn't escape product placement. She smiles but grows impatient. This takes an awfully long time. She's old, you know. Older than me. And that's saying something. Oh, shut up. You're not that old. I have more in common with this grandpa than you'd think. Just then, the screen changes. It says, password, in a box with a blinking cursor. Dr. Winter's face falls. Oh, no. What? Just a second. He hits the enter key without typing anything, and luckily it works. Dr. Winter sits back and explains. The worst thing about Earthling tech is that they use codes to lock their computers. You'd need to remember the code, or you couldn't get in. So you would have to memorize the code? Yeah, the password. He uses air quotes to signify the word. Not everything was facial recognition, retina scans, and fingerprints. This one didn't have a password, thank God. The home screen appears and Dr. Winter navigates to find the memory stick. He can't find it and comes to a conclusion. You have more of those? Dr. Lawrence reveals a bunch of them piled into a fold in her sweatshirt. They tumble down as she lowers the edge of her kangaroo leg pouch. Yeah, why? Julius begins to laugh. Give me another. We might be here a while. It doesn't work? She asks. It's been so many years. They could have been damaged. Elizabeth sighs. She stays by his side until she can't wait any longer. She leaves the pile of USB drives with him and moves to the corner of the room. She looks on at Julius and smiles as the sleep begins to take hold. Over the past 10 years, he's been a friend to her, and in ways that she's never had a friend before. He's aware that her passion lies in this job, and he'll stop at nothing to see her succeed. Elizabeth may have reservations about her talents, but Julius has faith in her. With her fear of the dark and her lack of experience as a leader, Julius still believes in the young engineer. He believes in her dream to be someone worth writing about and remembering. In Elizabeth, he sees a passionate force with a will to do good in the world. He admires her ability to take accountability for her actions, and he hopes that she can learn to admire herself as well. He works hard at this late hour, because she's the one he believes in most of all, and she's the one who's given him the courage to believe in something more than a sense of duty. Because of her, he works into the early hours of the morning, long after Elizabeth has fallen asleep. By the time the morning comes, Dr. Lawrence is drooling on a beanbag by the corner of the room. The dark room is illuminated by the lone computer monitor, and after hours of trial and error, Dr. Winter can't believe his eyes when an icon blinks onto the home screen. Lizzie! His voice wakes her. She thrusts herself up from a deep sleep to stand at his side again. The letters! She points at the highlighted lettering beneath the thumbnail, the alien script of a foreign culture. Dr. Winter smiles, theatrically smug in his tone. Watch this. He begins to click through the file's contents. Elizabeth looks on as he navigates through the windows in a fluid manner. The language appears under more thumbnails, until finally, an English error message reads, File corrupted. Oh, don't be a bitch now, he says. His words spill out from his subconscious, and Elizabeth laughs. Julius laughs and shakes his head. Shut up. Their laughter freezes as a file leads to a window with a play button. A timeline reads, buffering, and crawls its way to the end of the clip. Finally, the moment catches them like smoke in the wind, leaving no trace of where they once were. A video of a young boy by the Pacific Ocean. He stands on a pier, looking toward a man who enters the frame, presumably the boy's father. The man holds a toddler on his shoulders. After he counts down, he begins running after the boy. A lazy, sloppy run, which is meant to look foolish. Ocean water laps the long shores beneath the wooden pier, the rocky coast of a Japanese town, where white and gray birds fly in the golden air of a setting sun. To Elizabeth, the gulls sing like sirens in Greek mythology, and among the clouds of a receding storm, they look like angels. A handful of birds land on the pier and pluck popcorn off the dock. The young boy reaches the end of the pier and throws his hands into the sky with triumph. His father follows close behind, with a theatrical show of exhaustion. The woman holding the camera laughs at his humorous defeat. The boy runs toward the camera, shouting something that can only mean, "I won, Mom! I won!" Their language sounds almost as artistic as the characters they write in. It contains dominating and brief consonants with little expression on vowels. As the boy is about to collide with the camera, the clip ends. A frozen, smiling face that leaves two engineers without words to say. Elizabeth looks curiously at the family. Bittersweet is the feeling in her heart. Julius looks back at her. "Eureka?" he says. Elizabeth hugs him and laughs. "You're the best, Jules." Soon after, the flickering of the office lights signal the start of a new day. The historical assistant who turned them on looks surprised. His morning routine has been broken by the presence of two engineers in the tech room. The assistant smiles at his peculiarities. "Have you both been up all night?" he asks. Dr. Lawrence shrugs. The assistant nods at the computer. "You're supposed to have clearance to use that," he says. Dr. Winter gestures toward the screen. "You'll be happy we didn't wait for permission."